Did you know that the way you hug a woman can completely change how she feels about you, transforming you from just a friend to someone she can't stop thinking about? And the men who understand this simple physical language create attraction in seconds, while most guys never even realize what they're missing. Picture this scenario. You're saying goodbye to a woman you're interested in. Maybe it's the end of a first date. Maybe you've known her for a while, and you're trying to shift the dynamic from friendship to something more. The moment comes for a hug. You step in, give her a quick, awkward side embrace, the kind that feels more like a polite gesture than genuine connection. You pull away quickly, maybe pat her on the back like she's your buddy. She smiles politely, says goodbye, and walks away. And you're left standing there wondering why there's no spark, no chemistry, no sign that she sees you as anything more than a nice guy. Here's what most men don't realize. That hug was your opportunity to create a physical and emotional experience that could have completely changed her perception of you. But instead of using touch to build attraction, you communicated uncertainty, discomfort, and emotional distance. The truth is, physical touch, when done correctly, is one of the most powerful tools for creating attraction. And a hug, specifically, can trigger neurological and emotional responses that make a woman feel safe, desired, and magnetically drawn to you. But only if you understand the psychology behind it. Before we break down the specific techniques, you need to understand what's happening in a woman's brain and body during physical touch. When you hug someone, your body releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. This is the same chemical released during intimate moments, including sex, breastfeeding, and deep emotional connection. Oxytocin creates feelings of trust, safety, and emotional warmth. It literally makes people feel closer to each other on a neurological level. But here's the critical detail most men miss. Not all hugs trigger the same oxytocin response. A quick, tentative, half-hearted hug barely registers. It's a social formality that creates no emotional impact. A confident, full-body, intentional hug, one that lasts just the right amount of time and communicates genuine presence, triggers a powerful neurochemical response that can shift how a woman feels about you in seconds. And beyond the chemistry, there's psychology at play. The way you touch a woman communicates volumes about your confidence, your intentions, and how you see her. A weak, uncertain hug says, "I'm not sure if I'm allowed to touch you. I'm afraid of your reaction." A strong, intentional hug says, "I'm confident. I'm comfortable in my own body. I know how to create a moment of genuine connection." Women respond to this on an instinctive level. So let's break down exactly how to hug a woman in a way that creates attraction. Element number 1, the approach, commit fully. The first mistake most men make happens before the hug even begins. They're tentative. They hesitate. They lean in halfway, unsure if the hug is welcome. This uncertainty kills attraction instantly. Here's what you need to understand. If the context is appropriate for a hug, saying hello, saying goodbye, celebrating something, offering comfort, then commit to it fully. Step in with confidence. Don't shuffle forward uncertainly. Don't give her a side hug unless you're actually just friends and want to stay that way. Face her directly. Make eye contact for just a moment before you move in. This creates anticipation and signals your intention. And here's the psychological principle. Confidence in your physical movements communicates confidence in yourself. Women are constantly reading your body language for signals about your self-assurance and social calibration. When you commit to a hug fully, no hesitation, no awkwardness, just smooth, confident movement, you're demonstrating that you're comfortable in your own skin and comfortable creating physical connection. Let me give you a contrast. Imagine a guy who kind of shuffles forward, offers one arm, keeps his body turned slightly away, and gives a quick pat on the shoulder. What does that communicate? Discomfort, uncertainty, friend zone energy. Now imagine a guy who steps in confidently, faces her fully, opens his arms in a welcoming gesture, and moves into her space with calm assurance. What does that communicate? Confidence, intention, masculine presence. The hug hasn't even happened yet, and he's already created a completely different emotional experience. But the approach is just the beginning. The next element is where most guys really mess up. Element number 2, full body contact and presence. This is critical, so pay attention. Most men hug women with what I call the A-frame hug. Their upper bodies touch, but their hips and lower bodies stay far apart. They're creating distance even while they're supposedly hugging. This communicates fear, discomfort with sexuality, or worse, they are trying to hide an erection, which makes the whole thing feel awkward and sexualized in the wrong way. Here's what creates attraction: full body contact. When you hug her, bring your full body into contact with hers, chest to chest, stomach to stomach, hips to hips. Not in an aggressive or sexual way, but in a way that says you're comfortable with physical closeness. Wrap your arms around her fully. If she's shorter, which she likely is, one arm goes around her upper back, the other around her lower back or waist. Pull her in close, not aggressively but firmly. There should be no air gap between your bodies. And here's where the psychology gets interesting. This full body contact creates a sense of being enveloped, protected, and held. On a primal level, it triggers feelings of safety and feminine receptivity. Women want to feel physically smaller and protected in a man's arms. It's not about weakness, it's about the biological and psychological pleasure of experiencing masculine energy that can create a safe container for her. When you hug her with full commitment and presence, you're giving her a glimpse of what it would feel like to be held by you in more intimate contexts. But here's the critical nuance. The duration of the hug is where most men either kill the attraction or amplify it. Element number 3. Hold it longer than feels comfortable. Here's a rule that will change everything. Hold the hug for at least 3 full seconds. Ideally, 4 to 5. Most men hug for about 1 second, quick in, quick out, like they're afraid of lingering. But the magic of oxytocin release and emotional bonding happens when you hold the contact long enough for both of you to actually feel it. Think about it. A 1-second hug is transactional. It's a social gesture with no emotional weight. A 5-second hug is an experience. It's long enough for both of you to relax into the moment, for your nervous systems to regulate together, for her to actually feel the strength and warmth of your body. And here's what happens psychologically when you hold a hug longer than expected. It creates a moment of intimacy that stands apart from normal social interaction. She'll notice. She'll feel the difference between how you hug her and how everyone else does. And that difference creates curiosity and attraction. But you have to calibrate this correctly. You're not holding on creepily. You're not refusing to let go. You're simply being present in the moment, not rushing, allowing the connection to actually register. The way to do this naturally: don't pull away first. Let her be the one to initiate the release. When she starts to pull back, you release smoothly and confidently. This communicates that you're comfortable with closeness, that you're not in a rush, and that you're not desperate for the contact. You're simply present. Have you ever noticed how different it feels when someone really commits to a hug versus when they pull away quickly? Drop a comment about the most memorable hug you've ever experienced. But there's one more element that takes this from good to absolutely magnetic. Element number 4. The release. Create lingering tension. How you end the hug is just as important as how you begin it. Most men just let go abruptly and step back, creating immediate distance. This breaks the moment and eliminates any emotional residue. Here's what creates attraction: a slow, intentional release that maintains connection even as you separate. When she begins to pull back, don't just drop your arms and step away. Release slowly. Let your hands slide down her back or arms gently as you separate. Maintain eye contact as you create distance. This does something powerful psychologically. It extends the moment of connection beyond the physical touch itself. The slow release with maintained eye contact creates what's called sustained tension. She's no longer in your arms, but the emotional and energetic connection hasn't fully broken yet. And in that moment, that 2 or 3 seconds where you're no longer touching but you're still fully present with each other, attraction ignites. Why? Because you've created an experience that stands out from every other interaction in her day. You've demonstrated comfort with intimacy, confidence in your physical presence, and the social calibration to create and release tension appropriately. Here's a specific example of what this looks like in real life. You've just said goodbye after a date. You step in confidently, Give her a full-body hug that lasts a genuine 5 seconds. She starts to pull back. Instead of dropping your arms immediately, you let your hands slide gently down her arms as you separate, maintaining eye contact with a slight smile. You hold that eye contact for just a moment longer, then say something simple like, "I really enjoyed tonight," before turning to leave. That entire sequence, from approach to release, just created an experience she'll replay in her mind multiple times that evening. Micro hook. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Main point number 5, 11:45 to 13:30. Element number 5, context and calibration. Read the situation. Everything I've shared so far is useless if you don't understand context and calibration. A hug that creates attraction in one situation can feel completely inappropriate or creepy in another. You need to read the social context and her receptivity. Here's the basic principle. The hug should match the level of connection you've already established. If you've just met her in a professional context, a full 5-second embrace would be completely inappropriate. A warm but brief hug is calibrated correctly. If you've been on several dates and there's obvious mutual attraction, a longer, more intimate hug is not only appropriate, it's expected and desired. Pay attention to her body language as you approach. Is she opening her arms? Is she stepping toward you or staying in place? Is her body relaxed or tense? If she's receptive, arms open, body relaxed, smiling, that's a green light for a confident, full-body hug. If she seems uncertain or uncomfortable, adjust accordingly. You can still hug with confidence, but make it briefer and less intense. The key is this: you're always calibrating based on her response while maintaining your own confidence and presence. And here's the psychological principle. Women are attracted to men who can read social situations accurately and adjust their behavior while remaining grounded in their own confidence. A man who bulldozes forward without reading her signals comes across as socially unintelligent or aggressive. A man who's so cautious and tentative that he never creates any physical tension comes across as weak or unconfident. The attractive middle ground is confident intention combined with social awareness. And that brings us to the deepest psychological principle at play here. The way you hug a woman reveals how you relate to your own masculinity and sexuality. A weak, tentative hug suggests you're uncomfortable in your own body, uncertain about your right to take up space, or afraid of your own sexual energy. A confident, present, well-calibrated hug suggests you're grounded in your masculine presence, comfortable with intimacy, and unafraid of creating sexual tension. Women are unconsciously screening for these qualities every time they interact with you physically. They're asking themselves, does this man know how to lead? Is he comfortable with physical intimacy? Will I feel safe and desired in his arms? A hug answers all of these questions in seconds. And the beautiful part? This isn't about being naturally gifted or having some special charm. It's about understanding the psychology and practicing the physical execution until it becomes natural. Every man can learn to hug in a way that creates attraction. It just requires consciousness, intention, and the willingness to step out of your comfort zone. Here's the ultimate truth about hugging and physical attraction. It's not really about the hug itself. The hug is just a vehicle for something deeper. Your ability to be present, to create intimate moments, to lead physical interactions with confidence and calibration. Women aren't attracted to perfect technique. They're attracted to men who are comfortable in their own bodies, unafraid of intimacy, and capable of creating genuine connection. When you hug a woman with full presence, committing to the approach, creating full body contact, holding it long enough to matter, and releasing with intentional slowness, you're demonstrating all of these qualities at once. And in that moment, you're no longer just another guy. You're someone who stands out, someone who creates experiences that linger in her memory, someone she can't help but think about later. That's the power of understanding the psychology of touch. If this opened your eyes to something you've been missing in your interactions, hit that like button. It tells me this content is valuable and helps other men discover these insights. And if you want more deep dives into the psychology of attraction, dating dynamics, and what actually creates chemistry between men and women, subscribe and turn on notifications. I break down these hidden principles every single week. Most importantly, I want to hear from you in the comments. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to physical touch and creating attraction? Or share a time when a hug created an unexpected moment of connection. I read every comment, and your experiences help shape future content. Remember, attraction isn't mysterious or random. It's based on psychological principles that can be learned and applied. And when you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, you gain the power to create genuine connection instead of hoping it happens by accident. Thanks for watching. Now go out there and create some meaningful moments. I'll see you in the next one.